Good afternoon and welcome to our first real forecast for 2021. I am Tim Gordon, founder and CEO of the Black Real Awards, and I am joined by our nominating chairman, Cordell Martin. We only get this brother on we only get Cordell like once a year, actually several times a year. Cordell's not really on with us, so it's really our pleasure, man. What's going on, bro?
Just living the dream.
Cordell is living the dream, and we brought a special friend along today, Charles Kirkland, who as a rule does not do the real forecast with us, but I thought that this was a time that we needed Chuck to join us. Charles, welcome to Real Forecast.
Thanks for having me, Tim. It's always good to be adding sense and sensibility to the forecast.
Oh my God. All right, so Cordell, we are ready to take our first look and not yet, don't put it up yet, but basically what Real Forecast is we are, I think, about a month away from announcing the nominations for the 22nd Black Real Award, 22nd Annual Black Real Awards. And as the year winds down to a close, we usually wait until around this time of year to begin our forecasting process. Today, we're going to look at, Cordell, if I'm correct, lead actors.
Well, right now, supporting actor and actress.
Oh, okay. We're going with supporting actors, right? Threw me off. All right, curveball. All right, so we're going with supporting actors. It's been an amazing year so far, and so let's just dive right into it, man.
All right, so we'll kick things off with the supporting actor category.
Okay. So it looks like our leading contenders so far are Jeffrey Wright from The French Dispatch, Colman Domingo from Zola, Marlon Williams, Respect, Lakeith Stanfield, and Idris Elba, both from The Harder They Fall. So, Cordell, this is interesting that you have Idris Elba in here, because I was under the impression that Netflix would put Idris Elba and Jonathan Majors up in the lead categories, and the rest of the ensemble would all be supporting. But you're saying that is not the case.
Correct. From my gathering, I think they're putting Idris in supporting.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
is Jonathan Majors, since I'm not looking at him, Jonathan Majors is lead?
Yep.
Absolutely. And if you look at it by the amount of screen time as well, Jonathan Majors is actually on the screen. He's the protagonist of the film. So yeah, I can see why he'd be the lead actor and Idris is supporting.
Okay, well, the reason I'm saying that is because if you are making Idris Elba and Lakeith Stanfield supporting players, Delroy Lindo, why is Delroy Lindo not a player? I mean, he has as much screen time as Idris Elba has in this film.
I mean, he's a potential contender, as you'll see as we go through the rest of the list.
Okay. I'm sorry. I love Cordell. Hey, you're getting ahead of yourself here. Okay, cool. So do we break them down here, Cordell, or are we going to individually break each actor down?
Yes, so the way this is going to work, so the leading contenders are the front runners. We'll kind of have a breakout of each of these 5 contenders, and then we'll discuss the remaining contenders in this category.
All right, well, let's kick it off, man. All right, let's start off with Idris Elba, and I love what you've done here. We now are looking at Idris has had 10 Black Real Award nominations. He's won 2 times. He's been an Outstanding Supporting Actor nominee twice and an Outstanding Supporting Actor winner once. And what did he win Supporting Actor for?
No Nation.
Beast of No Nation.
Yep.
Okay.
A Netflix movie.
Now, you know what's really interesting, Charles, before I get to you, man, let's talk a little bit about Idris Elba, man. Idris Elba plays, of course, Rufus Buck in The Harder They Fall. I love Idris Elba in this film. I've met Idris Elba and have stood next to him, and Idris might be maybe an inch taller than me, right? I'm 6 feet. So Idris, but he looks so imposing the way that James Samuels shot him in this film. He appears to be much larger than that. And I think that allure of his size kind of lends to this kind of threat of who Rufus Buck is in this film. But I think he does some wonderful acting in it as well. Talk a little bit about your feelings. I'll go with you first, and then Cordell, you guys talk about Idris Elba.
Okay, so I think you're correct in that the way James Samuel portrays him is that he's the big bad. He's the big bad guy. So yeah, he doesn't use a lot of angles that make him look large on purpose. And
I think we lost Charles.
Yeah, it happens. He'll be back. He'll be back. All right, Cordell, while we're waiting on Charles to come back. Yeah, I don't know what happened to you, Charles. You just kind of froze on us, man.
I thought you guys had frozen. I'm like, I'm talking and you guys weren't moving, so it was me. Okay.
So as you were saying?
So I was saying, James Samuel purposefully shoots him in a way that makes him, because he is the big bad character, to make him larger than life on the screen. However, I don't think that he really is the outstanding supporting actor in this category. I think Lakeith Stanfield does a better job in the film as far as the acting goes for that character. So for that film. So in that way, I would probably put Stanfield over Elba.
All right, Cordell, what about you?
Yeah, so how I base these rankings, I just looked at past nominees, kind of there was a trend in terms of who's been nominated before. Of course, if you're a Black Reel Awards favorite, kind of put that in the mix too. And, with Idris Elba, I mean, he's won in this category before for also a not similar, but a villainous role with Beast of No Nation. Also being in the film of Netflix, the accessibility for our voters, and the general public in terms of watching this film. And then also, if a film is really popular, sometimes you'll see more than one nominee from the same film in this category. So like Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and a few other films in the past where you'll see multiple nominees in the same category. And plus, with 10 Black Reel Award nominations, clearly the voters love him. So you see his name, more than likely he'll be a check mark in terms of getting votes from our voting academy.
Right. And that's actually a good point, because when we're talking about our forecast right now, we're talking about the nominations that are coming up and who has the best chance. And I think Idris Elba has a strong chance because, to quote Eddie Murphy in Distinguished Gentleman, Idris Elba is the name you know. All right, who's up next, Cordell? Oh, yeah. Now, this is interesting right here. Colman Domingo, who last year I thought was great in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, was amazing in Zola early this year. And this is a performance that I am hoping, this is A24, am I correct, Cordell?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, I'm hoping A24, does a job of getting this film back out to voters, because he kind of represents to me what we talked about. Oh, Benedict Cumberbatch in The Power of the Dog, where his character creates the dread in the story. Colman Domingo does something similar in Zola. Very, very scary character, man. Just unpredictable. What about you, Charles? What did you think about this guy? Uh-oh.
I think this performance is more. Am I frozen again? I think Colman Domingo's performance in this is even better than what he did in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. The tension that he creates in the film just to make the film work is, it's perfect for him. I think he is, to me, the lead outstanding supporting actor. So yeah, he should definitely get a nomination.
Cordell, what do you think his chances are, man? Because again, you talked about accessibility with Idris Elba. This is a film that may not be that accessible to our voters. Do you think he has a shot of finding his way in, despite the fact that we think his performance is great?
I think he has a strong shot, just because his performance is probably the most memorable in the entire film. And then also, once again, with this category, if you look at the history, a lot of times those underrated actors kind of get their just due in this category. And so with him breaking through last year with Ma Rainey, I think he'll continue the love with the voters with another nomination here.
All right, who's next? Okay, so Colman Domingo. Yeah, now this is a good one right here. Lakeith Stanfield, look at that. 5 nominations, never won one supporting actor nomination. Saw him last year in Judas and the Black Messiah, which I'm sure he was nominated for. He's really, really strong. And I agree with Charles here. I think that out of the 2 performances that we're looking at so far between him and Elba, his Cherokee Bill was really, really strong, man. And I thought he really did a good job of not necessarily matching Idris Elba's menace, but also kind of having a complicated story of its own. Charles Kirkland? Uh-oh,
you lost him again.
He's like Common Chameleon. He comes and goes.
All right, I guess I'll go ahead and go. With Lakeith, as we've seen in the past couple of years, he's definitely been a star on the rise.
Right.
I mean, to have 5 nominations at his youthful age speaks a lot to his performances. Also in this category, one thing to note, a lot of up and coming young actors like Michael B. Jordan and Barkhad Abdi have been some of the past winners. So I think he could join that group. And then also he's been singled out from critics and a lot of audiences as probably the standout performance in this film. So if I think voters are going to gravitate towards someone from The Harder They Fall, I think Lakeith will be the one that'll be the recipient of that.
All right, Charles Kirkland, unmute yourself, man, because we were laughing at you. You were frozen again, but go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the great thing about the Black Reel Awards is that these are intelligent voters. They know what's going on. We don't. You're laughing are you laughing at me?
No, man, because you were just momentarily frozen. Me and Cordell are like, go ahead, man.
Uh-oh.
Charles? Yeah, man. Charles is done. So basically what I think Charles was saying before he locked up on us was that, you know, our voters are pretty knowledgeable and we have a wonderful academy of a lot of different voters, whether they're Oscar voters, BAFTA voters. You know, we've got some DGA members, some PGA members. We have a very diverse pool of voters, man. And I'm really excited from year to year to find out what direction these guys are going to go into. So I think that's what Charles was saying. So let's move on to the next slide. And I think Charles is going to check back in with us. Jeffrey Wright. Now, this one is interesting, man. I saw his performance in The French Dispatch. And while I was not a big, huge fan of the film, I thought that the work that Jeffrey Wright did in the film was really, really strong. Judging by looking at what he has done in the past, he has been nominated 4 times for Black Reel Awards. He's won 1. He has had 3 nominations in the supporting field and has 1 supporting actor win. So he's clearly someone that the voters like. He's someone that the voters understand has done a history of really strong work. And I think he's good here. I don't think this is his best performance, but I think it may be strong enough for him to get a seat at the table this year. Charles Kirkland, what do you think about Jeffrey Wright's chances in The French Dispatch?
I think his chances for nomination in this film are slimmer than it should be, because I don't know how many people who actually watched The French Dispatch and enjoyed The French Dispatch enough to recognize him for his performance in it. So that may be a problem for him in this time around.
Cordell, what do you think?
Yeah, to Charles' point, I mean, I could see that being a possibility in terms of just voters watching the film or wanting to watch the film over other films in contention. But just looking at his history, especially in this category, with him being a respected actor and who he's portraying, those were some of the factors that I looked into in terms of adding him as one of the leading contenders.
All right. Well, Jeffrey Wright, him Him and Colman Domingo, I think, are two, and I think it has nothing to do with their performances. I think it has everything to do, as I said, with the accessibility and how much people remember these performances, and if these studios can do a good job of bringing them back. Now, this one is going to be interesting because this is a performance that I thought was pretty dark for Marlon Wayans at the time, in a film that has really been forgotten this year. I mean, outside of Jennifer Hudson's performance as Aretha Franklin, I haven't heard anybody bringing up anything else about this film. So to me, Marlon Wayans' chances to me are slim. And it's not because he didn't do good work, but you know, timing is everything in this business. Charles, am I right, or am I going down the wrong path with Marlon Wayans?
Okay, first of all, Marlon Wayans, it's hard to take him seriously because he's a comedian, and he's never really stepped into a serious role like this before. And that voice that he uses in the film, it just is it was kind of comical in its own, but it was an interesting performance for him. Be recognized because it was really Jennifer Hudson's vehicle. And also, not a lot of people like Respect enough to even say, you know, to consider his performance as anything. So I don't know.
Cordell, what say you about his overall chances of getting into the top 5?
I mean, it just really depends on how much the studio pushes Respect again. Because to your point, I mean, with the August release date, and now with all these other films coming into play, I could see him kind of just getting lost in the shuffle. But once again, you know, with the supporting actor category, a lot of times the voters gravitate to more of those villainous roles and performances. So he could sneak in if the voters do love Respect. So we shall see.
You see my face. You said the voters love Respect. I'm like, we'll see.
Stranger things have happened. So
we will see. All right. Well, who's up next, man?
So these are
all righty
potential spoilers in this category that I listed. So
all right. Well, let's go and break them down individually. Let's talk about it.
Oh, so it's just the main screen. I didn't break.
Oh, just the main screen. Okay. So Cordell's like, yeah, I'm not giving y'all a second screen. All right, so Brian Tyree Henry in the Eternals. Superhero film ensemble. Not really. I don't see that one. That one. I'm gonna dismiss that one. Let me go through them quickly. Andre Holland for Passing. Passing is a film that's getting a lot of attention right now. And there's a lot of eyes on it, and a lot of our voters have been exposed to this film. Holland's work in the film is not super outstanding, but it's very solid. I don't think a lot of voters have seen The Tragedy of Macbeth because they're just starting to begin screening that film. And the same goes for Rob Morgan and Don't Look Up. And to a lesser extent, Kelvin Harrison Jr. in Cyrano. Even though I've seen Cyrano, Kelvin Harrison is good. Is he good enough to crack the top 5? It depends. Looking at this list, Charles, what do you think has an outside shot to crash the party and take out one of the folks that Cordell had, like say a Marlon Wayans or say a Colman Domingo?
Out of this 5 here, I think there's 2 possibilities. I think Corey Hawkins' work as Macduff in The Tragedy of Macbeth is pretty good. Okay. And so I think a lot of people, as this movie starts screening more, a lot of people are going to look at Corey and say that he's doing some good work here. And I think Kelvin Harrison Jr. also in that same way, the more people get to see Cyrano, because he acts and sings in this film, it's a very powerful film. And I believe I told Tim about this one, and he checked me in on it, and he said, yeah, I was right about Cyrano being a very good movie. So as the push for Cyrano increases, I look to see Kelvin Harrison Jr. As an outside chance at getting in the top 5.
Well, and Cordell, go ahead on before I get my final thought. But go ahead, Cordell. What are you thinking about somebody's chances here?
Charles, especially on Corey and Kelvin. I mean, I think those are 2 of them, up and coming rising stars that we see often get nominated with our awards. And also, I think it will help both of them because their films are now being screened. This is kind of that, final hour where, if you're late in the race, that's going to help you out in the long run versus coming out of the gate early on.
Well, it's interesting. Kelvin Harrison, I think his first 4 or 5 films, he played literally a different variation of the same character, where he was always a complex high school student, whether it was Loose or Monsters and Men or Monster. It's like, dude, I was like, are you gonna ever grow up? And then he's now starting to make some additional films, but Kelvin Harrison lives primarily in the drama lane, even the High Note that he did with Tracy Ellis Ross a year ago. So he's an actor whose work we've seen evolve slowly but surely. Corey Hawkins, a lot of people remember him from Straight Outta Compton, and then he's gone on to do a lot of other work. I think he's solid. Rob Morgan, don't sleep on him, even though I think Don't Look Up is probably, again, I haven't seen it yet, but Rob Morgan is a wonderful character actor who's really good in whatever he does. I'm just not sure if there's going to be enough eyes on this film to give him a puncher's chance for the Black Reel Award. So what's next, Cordell, or are we wrapping up? Oh, we have more. Look at you. Okay. The Harder They Fall, Delroy Lindo, Idris Elba and Suicide Squad, RJ Seiler, pretty good. Idris Elba and Concrete Cowboy. Okay, so let me quickly go through these and break this down. I think Delroy Lindo was really good. He's not West Indian Archie good. He's not the Five Bloods good, but he's really good in this film. You can cancel the 2 Elba performances out in these other 2 films because Elba's best performance was the one in the first film. Forrest Whitaker, I thought was really good in Respect, but it goes back to what I said earlier when we talked about Marlon Wayans, that it's not a movie that's as well received at all. So I'm like, And RJ Seiler is going to get what I call the Harder They Fall, what do you call it? Like the tailwind. Like everybody that's in this film is going to get a lot of love. I expect that there's going to be a lot of nominations for the Harder They Fall because it's a film that was immensely popular with people and it's still like fresh on the forefront of everybody's mind. Charles Kirkland, looking at this 5-some here, what are you thinking about this group?
I agree with you mostly on all this because every year the Black Reel Awards has that one film that everybody just loves the most, and you get all the nominations that go toward that film. So out of the 5 that we have here, I would really love to see RJ Seiler get nominated for the work that he did in The Harder They Fall. The Delroy Lindo's performance was just kind of even tempered, same kind of one-note performance. But RJ Seiler really had an outstanding role, something that you remembered about his performance in that film. So I think he's the best out of all these 5 that you got here.
So Cordell, we see that Idris Elba had a really good year. He had a lot of projects out this year. Yeah. So what are you thinking as it relates? Are there any of these? And I'm looking at RJ Seiler. I'm with Charles. I think RJ Seiler, you had him like on the second page of Outside Contenders or Inside, Outside Contenders. I think The Harder They Fall is going to get a lot of love, man. Are you feeling it or am I off base?
No, I think so. I mean, every year we have those surprises that show up unexpected in certain categories. I think he could be that one. Like you guys both mentioned, he definitely had a memorable role in the movie. And with him being, once again, that young star, I think he could break that top 5, especially since the top 5 that we are predicting aren't the most solid top 5. So there's rooms for a couple surprises.
All right. What's next? Cordell?
All right, now supporting actress.
Oh, now this is fun. I expect we will have the same conversation, but for a different film. Yep, I see it on the first page. All right, so outstanding supporting actresses. And this race is going to be, as they say on the streets, hella interesting for the leading contenders, man. You've got Sanaya Sidney, who we've been raving about. King Richard is brand new. Same thing we just talked about with The Harder They Fall, a movie that's right in, a popular movie, right in the forefront of everybody's vision. So this film I expect to do equally well. Viola Davis in The Unforgivable, they have not really screened this one widely for critics right now, but it is Viola Davis, man. But, we got to see the performance. Ruth Nega, Andr Ellis, and Regina King. There's nothing to say about either three of these. These women are all legendary in our award space. These, especially Regina King. Regina King is almost as close to Cordell. I don't even know what her winning percentage is, but it's almost like if her name is on the ballot, that's who's gonna win, Regina King. So take us and let us break this down individually, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Wow. Viola Davis, man. My God, 10 nominations, 4 wins, 5 supporting actress nominations, 2 supporting actress winners. I haven't seen this movie yet, but as I said earlier, it's Viola Davis.
Exactly.
Charles, you haven't seen this film either, man. Do you have any comment on Viola Davis from Reputation, and unmute yourself?
I've seen only the trailer for this film, and when I saw the trailer and that Viola was in this and what she did in the trailer, even I'm like, oh man, it's her again. I mean, I don't know. Like you said, I haven't seen the film itself, but from the trailer, she's in there again. It's just her. It's her world.
It's Viola Davis.
You got two queens right now. You got Viola Davis as a queen. You got Regina King as a queen. So I mean,
man, it's going. And what it will come down to is which film is more accessible. I hate to say that, but that's a true statement. So Regina King is in a Netflix movie, which means everybody can see it.
Yep.
Unforgivable. I don't know what studio this is. It ain't Netflix.
No, it's Netflix.
It's Netflix. Really?
It's Netflix. What's this? Never mind. Move on, Cordell.
And that's one of the reasons why I have her as one bleeding contender. On Netflix. I think it has a early December release date. So out of all the films, I think she'll probably be one of the films that will be premiering later.
So Cordell, stick a pin in this. Like when we start doing the real forecast after the nominations are announced, it's going to be a brawl between Queen Viola and Queen Regina. But go ahead.
Yeah, and then look at her stats with 10 nominations.
Oh, bro, her work is legendary. Like a couple of minutes ago, I'm not saying any names. There was somebody you put on the screen that had 0, 1, a 0, and a 1, and I was like, yeah, But when you get to 10, 4, 5, and 2. You are what they call on the streets a made person. You are established in the game, and at least with our voting body, this is a name. It's Viola Davis, man. Her work is always quality.
Exactly.
Oh, now see, here's the rare exception right here, right? So we're looking at a 1, 0, and 0 for Andr Ellis, who I believe is literally a lot to be a nominee this year. She was great in King Richard. Andr Ellis does not get the respect. And Cordell and I have talked about this through the years. This woman is solid in almost every role she's in. And I'm very surprised about her numbers. Her numbers do not belie the talent that she has as an actress or the filmography that she has displayed over the course of her career. Charles, am I off base or do you agree with this?
I agree with you to a point. I think Ingenue, she works very hard. I mean, everything that she does, it's just that we don't see enough of her sometimes. I think she's not out there as much as Viola is there, as much as Regina has been there recently. So to me, to quote somebody else that came on to our show once before, if Andr Ellis does not get a nomination, somebody gonna get these hands. That's all I'm gonna say.
Pretty much. She's great. Watch this. Me and Cordell have no dog in the fight, right? Because Charles is a voter, but we don't have a vote. I'm just saying, man, Andr Ellis, I think her work is so strong in here that she's almost undeniable. I can't speak for Viola Davis, but I can speak for her. So that's my 2 cents on it. Watch this. I'm waiting for for Cordell to give us a slide so I could be like, oh.
With her nomination, I think she was really strong in King Richard. And the one thing, especially with Black actresses, a lot of them tend to peak later in their careers. So you look at Viola Davis, she didn't really hit the mainstream till her mid-40s. Or your Taraji P. Henson's, or Regina King. I mean, Regina King just started to get a hot streak with the Emmy Awards and now an Oscar win in her late 40s. So with Anjanae now getting into this big role with King Richard, I think now it's going to be her time to kind of be
I'm
popular.
gonna stick a pin in your Regina King comment until we see the slide, and then I'm gonna be like, Cordell.
But remember, these stats are just for the film side. Now, on the TV side, Anjanae has received a lot of nominations and wins there. So,
all right. Hey. All right. So Cordell just said, I want you to hear this. Cordell said that Regina King. Say it again, because I don't want to misrepresent what you just said about when you talk about actresses who peak late and you talked about Regina King.
I said that Regina King didn't really get popular with the mainstream audiences until her mid to late 40s.
Okay, stop. Now, Regina King is somebody who I've known and watched her career since she played Lil Brenda Jenkins in 227. I remember Regina King in Boys in the Hood in 91. I remember Regina King tore it up in not Higher Learning, in Poetic Justice. And Higher Learning, she was in that one as well. Regina King has been on Tim Gordon's radar for like 30 years. So Cordell is right to a degree that the mainstream media is just picking up on Regina King. You know, as Dave Chappelle said today in the Hall of Fame induction when he was inducting Jay-Z, this dude, Regina King is the culture, right? So Regina King has been down with us. And the audience has been down with her from the beginning, man. She is a South Central LA native. This sister, man, her acting is raw and she's transparent in everything she does. I absolutely love Regina King's work, as evidenced by the voters. 5 Black Real Award nominations. To Cordell's point, Regina King has even more nominations on the television side and more wins. She's won on the film side 3 times. I know she's won on the television side at least 3 or 4 times. So Regina King is like, she is Queen King. She is that good. She is really good. And she, as Trudy in this film, she's solid. As I said with Andr Ellis, you can pencil in Regina King. You can pencil in Andr Ellis. Can't speak for Viola Davis, but if this movie is any good, hey, man, you get no argument from me. Charles, I'm sorry, man. I was waiting for Regina King because I love her work, man.
To Cordell's point, a lot of Regina King's excellent work came before there were a Black Reel Awards. So if there were a Black Reel Awards way back when we talk about, she would have double-digit nominations.
About, what was the other one? The one she did with Cuba Gooding Jr. Jerry Maguire, my God. Enemy of the State with Will Smith. I mean, this woman, her work has just been solid. Like throughout like her career, she just did a really good job. And we watched her age and grow on screen. But go ahead, Charles.
So basically what I'm saying is she's a lock. She is the Black Reel Awards. If it weren't for her, where would we be as far as having our actresses? She's the standard. She's been the standard for decades. So she's got to be there.
All right, man. I mean, I'm sorry. We're gonna have to stop gushing, man, because I don't want her people to see this time. Look at them talking about you, Gina. Well, go ahead. Cordell, what do you think about Regina?
We ain't lying.
So what did you think about her chances, Cordell?
I think they're really strong. I mean, once I saw the trailer, I was like, she's already a lock for a nomination. Like, she's just one of those performers that always is going to bring their A game. And she did nothing short of that with The Harder They Fall. And as I mentioned, just look at those stats. I mean, the fact that she took home 2 awards earlier this year for her directorial debut with One Night in Miami shows that the voters love her. And now that she's getting more quality roles on the film side, I mean, those stats just going to go up from there.
Regina King, man. So let me ask you a question before we move on. I know Viola Davis has, as we saw her 10 nominations on the film side. Regina King is coming. Is there any other woman that has had an amazing or had a major impact on our awards over the first 21 years? To anybody else? I mean, not Halle Berry. Has it been, trying to think, has it been, what is her name? Angela Bassett? No?
No, I mean, I think for actresses, unfortunately, they kind of have their little moment. Like you look at someone like Octavia Spencer, once she broke through with The Help, I think she received an additional 4 or 5 supporting actresses nominations for the Black Widow. So sometimes you have your little hot moment, it's a couple years, but it's not to the extent of like a Denzel Washington or Michael B. Jordan, where it could go on for decades, literally. And that's just the nature, unfortunately, with this industry in Hollywood, especially just for the roles for Black women that supporting, you know, you really can get your just due, but in the lead roles, as you'll see, it's really tough to kind of get multiple nominations there.
Well, we talk because Regina King and Viola Davis, is interesting that you have these two titans in this race this year going up against each other. And I'm just anxious to see how this thing is going to shake out. So let's move on because you got a couple other ones, and this one is interesting. Ruth Nega, wow, I'm trying to figure out how to even say this. I think her performance in this film might be the strongest performance in the film, because even though it's through the point of view of Tessa Thompson, Ruth Nega is the one who's responsible as Claire to drive the action, to drive all the circumstances that happen in the film. So Ruth Nega, again, she may have more love on the television side than she has on the film side. Make no mistake about it. This is not like the other situation we were talking about when we saw 1010. Ruth Nega can act. And I've seen her loving. She can act. This woman is really good. Charles, what do you think about Ruth Nega's chances? Will the fact that her film be a Netflix film, the fact that it's released in November, will it be enough to stick in the memory of people in the next couple of weeks when they go to the voting booth?
You brought up a couple factors that I think have nothing to do with her nomination. I think this is the weakest one in the 5 that we've seen, because although she is the force behind the movie really wasn't that pleasing, and a lot of people haven't really come out in support of it the way we would think that they should. I think her performance is good. I think she could be nominated, but I think this is the weakest one in the field, and has nothing to do with timing or anything else. I think it's just not that great.
Wow, man, that brother must be on Keeping It Real with Film Gordon. That was strong. Cordell Martin, what do you think about Ruth Nega's chances, man? I mean, she hasn't been a juggernaut on the film side for the Black Reel Awards. Will that change this year for her?
I mean, I think she will get a nomination, just because, once again, it's on Netflix. So, of course, a lot of eyeballs will be watching that performance. I think out of the 5 that I'm predicting, I think her and Anjanae are definitely the 2 that will probably get a lot of buzz and support across the industry with other mainstream awards, which will kind of help her keep her in the conversation for a nomination. Right. As for when, if you're up against Viola, Regina, and Anjanae, so I think the nomination is her reward, if she is nominated. So yeah.
All right. Well, 2 varying opinions. We will see which of the 2 of you are right, because Charles is like, I had nothing to do with it. Wow. This one right here, this is a performance I love, and of course, this is I'm not necessarily saying it's her first film, but it's one of her earlier films. Sanaa Sidney is great in King Richard, and I can't judge her because we have nothing to judge it against. I think the fact that King Richard is so popular, it's a good film, and she's playing a very young Venus Williams and plays her convincingly, I think will be enough to stand out in people's minds. And I think I think she has a really strong shot. I'm not going to say she's in. I think she has a really strong shot. Charles, what say you?
I think Will Smith has been pushing for her because the one thing that he's been constantly telling people is that Saniyya Sidney is a left-hander and she learned to play tennis like Venus Williams as a right-hander. And so I think she's very good in this movie. I would be surprised if she does not come away with a nomination. I like her performance a lot in this film.
Cordell Martin, you had her as one of the leading contenders. Do you think in the short time, because we only have a window of about 3 weeks, man, before nominations are going to be announced, man, and voting is going to take place. I think, as I said earlier, do you agree with my assessment that the fact that this movie is literally brand new, just coming out and will be in people's minds, that will be enough over some films that may have been released earlier, that those studios will need to work to reacquaint those performances with audiences?
I think so. And like we mentioned with the supporting actor race too, if there's a film that, people love, you're going to see multiple nominations specifically in the supporting categories. I mean, for example, Black Panther had 3 of its actresses in this category.
Right.
And then also with her being a, up and coming actress, you've seen a lot of breakthrough performances nominated or win in this category, like Jennifer Hudson for Dreamgirls as an example. I think Saniyya will be nominated here, but I think her best shot is probably breakthrough actress for our awards.
Right. You're absolutely right. And breakthrough category is going to be tough this year as well, because there are a number of folks that will be in that category that'll be strong. Oh man, ooh, yeah, this is tough too, man. So the spoilers, man. Let's got Cuffy, Danielle Deadweiler from The Harder They Fall. She was actually really good. Zazie Beetz, do not sleep on her in 9 days. That was a really, really good performance in a film that I don't think a lot of people saw. Lashana Lynch, the symbolism of her being 007, Sheila Atim in Bruised, and Ariana DeBose, who neither Charles and I have seen this film yet and won't see it for about another week and a half. Charles, I mean, looking at this, I think Deadweiler, again, that Harder They Fall kind of vapor that's out there in the air that people really will remember that performance. I don't think Zazie Beetz, despite the fact that I think she's really good in 9 days, I don't think enough people will have seen that film in order to give her a shot. And then Sheila Atim in Bruised, I think is good, but who do you take out to put her in? So that's what I got, man. What are you thinking, Charles? No. I mean, I'm asking you. You tell me. Well, he's
okay.
Bitching,
First of all, all right. So I agree. Zazie Beetz' performance is stellar in 9 days. Stellar. I think she really deserves the nomination that Ruth Nega would get. I really would put her in that slot. And for me, Sheila Atim and her performance in Bruised, a great performance here as well. I don't know where she would go, how she would get in the top 5, but it would be nice if she could crack it. But if anybody on this screen, Zazie Beetz definitely deserves a nomination.
So you wouldn't take Regina King out to put in Sheila Atim?
No.
Cordell, is there any performance on here that you agree? Because I think Deadweiler and Beetz are 2 that could push, but Beetz' issue is that she's in a film that her performance is great, but nobody's seen it. And Deadweiler's in a film where, there's going to be so many people from that film that are going to get acknowledged. Can she also be acknowledged in this film?
Yeah, with Zazie, I agree. Her performance is really great in 9 days, but once again, if the studios aren't pushing it, then it's gonna be really tough for her to get in that top 5. Danielle, I could see. I think her and Saniyya are kind of fighting for that last spot in terms of just like that breakthrough performer of the year. And then I would say look out for Ariana DeBose. Depends on how West Side Story is received with the critics. I mean, she has an iconic role. If she's able to fill the shoes of Rita Moreno, she could also kind of step into that top 5. But I mean, it's just a stat category. And when you have Viola, Regina, Anjanae, I think those 3s are locks, but I don't know. And I mean, with this group right here, a lot of them you can definitely see or be on the lookout for in the breakthrough actress category.
Right.
This is kind of like their breakthrough. So
yeah,
definitely.
Deadwild is another one she's breakthrough eligible, right?
Yep, she is. Ariana is. Sheila and Lashana.
Oh yeah. Well, there it is. I told you, man. This is stacked every year, and every year brings its own set of challenges. All right. So who are these? Oh, let's see this. Audra McDonald, Mary J. Blige, Moses Ingram, Demi Singleton, and Tiffany Haddish. Wow. Charles has got the gas face on right now. Demi Singleton, hold on a second. Demi Singleton, I think, is good. Mary J. Blige and Audra McDonald, thanks for playing, and thanks for being on the sheet with us. Tiffany Haddish in the card counter, again, a performance that I don't think a lot of people will see. I mean, and again, if you're at home and you're watching this and you keep hearing me say that over and over, people can't vote for things they don't see. And if the studios aren't pushing these performances in front of people like Charles Kirkland or Tim Gordon or any other voter, well, let me rephrase that, not in front of me. You push it to me because I'm voting for some other stuff. I don't vote on the Black Real Awards, but if you're not pushing it in front of people who vote, it's awfully hard, no matter how strong the performance, to get nominations for them. Demi Singleton, will there be enough room that she can bump somebody else out? I don't see it in the supporting actress category. And to Cordell's earlier point, I think her best shot is in the breakthrough. And the breakthrough category is going to be murdered this year because you've already shown 5 people before we even got to Demi and some of these other people who can be in that category. So it's awfully, awfully tough. Charles Kirkland, by looking at your face, I can already tell you that there's nothing on here that's going to move you to bump off any of the main contenders for this page, for this group.
Yeah, when I looked at the page, you call it the gas face. It was just like the confused face of which one of these people, if any, could actually crack the top 5. And I was just thinking about it, and I'm like, none of them really. I think Tiffany, out of this 5, Tiffany Haddish probably would be the most worthy, but none of these people have even a chance of getting into the top 5 to me. They're truly, unless something changes in the way the studios push their films, I don't think any of them can make it.
Well, before we go and get to Cordell, I'm not the best, like Tiffany Haddish in comedies, I'm not really that much of a fan. Tiffany Haddish, when she does drama, I think she does a really good job in dramas, and she's really good in the card counter. But I don't know what it is, man. Maybe it's timing. Maybe it's not the actual right film. I just don't know what it is. But Tiffany Haddish should be getting more shine than she's getting for some of these dramatic performances. But Cordell, I'll throw it back to you, man. Is there anybody on here that you think has a legitimate shot of being able to vault into the top 5?
Unfortunately, no.
I love his face. He just started like.
Can I ask why you even put him up here? Why did we?
Well, no. We have a right to let people know that who are the people who are the outside contenders, who are the spoilers, and who are the contenders.
I mean, like I said, stranger things have happened. I mean, let's talk about the supporting actress category this past ceremony where we had Gabourey Sidibe and Antebellum and Tracy Ellis Ross for the high note. So.
Well, let's stop that, Cordell. Don't say anything can happen. Anything can happen in a year where you don't have a strong feel. Like we didn't have this feel 12 months ago because we'd had this feel. Those 2 performances would not have gotten nominated. So this year is going to be very interesting. That I think it's much more representative of what we've done from year after year. So, do we have any other contenders to look at?
That is it for the supporting categories.
All right. All right, sir. So are we done with our forecast for the supporting actors right now? We are. All right. So Charles, Cordell, any last feedback on this group? That I will just basically say it looks like it is back to what I call a normal year after we had the pandemic year last year. This group of contenders on both sides, the male and the men and women this year, they look awful strong, man. They really do.
For the women, it's just the top three, and everyone else is just congratulations, you made it. So I mean, but yeah, the category is these are pretty solid as far as who's going to be nominated.
Well, I mean, or who we think is going to get nominated. We don't know. Who we think is going to get nominated. Cordell, you got any last thoughts on what I think looks like on the male side, a stat category, and then on the other side of the actress side, I think to both of your points, I think you call it the big three and then everybody else. So yes, for nominations is the big three and everybody else. If Viola Davis is solid in her film, it's going to be a race of the big two once those nominations are announced, because I love Andr Ellis, but Andr Ellis going up against Regina King and Viola Davis. And trust me, look, I love Andr Ellis. I'm not saying that. No, you said we can only get those hands if she's not nominated. Yeah, I think she has a really strong chance of a nomination, but I'm saying after the nomination, you're dealing with royalty when you're talking about that. That would be like Beyonce going up against Rihanna for an award. What you gonna do? I rest my case. There's silence all around. All right. All right, so let's wrap that up. That is our real forecast for our supporting performances. I want to thank you guys for checking us out. And for more information, you can check us out at the Black Real Award, not the Black Real Awards, at blackrealawards.com. I apologize. I do too much of this stuff. And our nominations will be announced on Thursday, December the 16th. So look out for that. So, and find out if we were right, or more importantly, find out if Cordell is right or if Charles is right about these categories. On behalf of both the fellas, we guys thank you. You guys take care, and we look forward to speaking with you guys soon. You guys take care, man. Thanks, guys.